I have some news which I think could be very legendary for the future of Hedera. And we take a look at this right here. We'll see that according to the Cointelegraph, it says how NASDAQ files to list Canary HBAR ETF. Now, some people may be wondering, okay, what is Canary? That stands for Canary Capital. And when I first talked about this, right, back then, it was still in the beginning stages. People weren't sure if things were really going to move along. But as of right now, there's an update when it comes to this news. And it feels like, again, things are beginning to cook up in a good way. We take a look at, for instance, right, the filing, of course, is the latest in a litany of applications with the SEC from issuers and exchanges. So, again, there's a lot here, but it really gets special because I do believe that the potential of this could be very fantastic, especially for the future of HBAR. But if we take a look at further in the article, it says that the SEC must review and approve the filings before trading can commence. But again, I do like this because it feels like things are beginning to progress. Now, there is no guarantee about anything here, but the way I take a look at it is that, again, I like the direction in which it's heading. Now, not to mention, when it comes to Canary, again, Canary Capital, it has also filed to list ETFs holding altcoins, which include Solana, Litecoin, and XRP. So yeah, it's not like Canary's only focused on HBAR, but again, this is good nonetheless. When I take a look at the impact of something like potentially, again, an ETF for Hedera, this could be massive because we all know what the ETF did for Bitcoin, for Ethereum. Now, people may argue that, oh yeah, it's not doing the best, all this, but it really does give a lot of good sentiment, in my opinion, especially for the whole crypto space overall. And I think it's really good to see other projects too maybe get an ETF, right? Why not? I think this right here, if anything, also solidifies HBAR as a premier altcoin, really, because it showcases that, hey, this isn't something that's to be joked around with or, something to really be made fun of, because really, Hedera is a serious project. This is very fantastic. And some people sometimes, in some cases, they don't really understand how special Hedera is, but I do, because I know that traditional blockchain technology is massive, and it's going to be massive for a very long time. But the way I view it is that there is something called the evolution of that in a sense. And that is something that is an alternative to traditional blockchain technology, which is a directed acyclic graph, which is exactly what Hedera Hashgraph is. Now, people may be thinking, okay, people won't really care about the marginal benefits of, a directed acyclic graph over traditional blockchain technology. And in some cases, maybe they don't mind, like let's say in the retail side of things, but when it comes to an enterprise, they do care about this type of stuff. They care about the advantages that they could have because typically a directed acyclic graph is a lot faster. It's usually a lot more scalable. Typically, improved data storage also usually consumes way less energy. Enterprises, they care about this type of stuff. And you got to think about how the average, transaction when it comes to energy usage, when it comes to Hedera, on average, they do use less energy than something like Solana, the BNB chain, Ethereum. You take a look at Avalanche, Algorand. So when it comes to an enterprise, especially if they're looking to maybe, save on energy, or let's say they just want the slightest improvements, this could matter, in my opinion, because every enterprise out there, I think they're trying to get every little advantage that they could have. So why not, right? Now, when it comes to something being very revolutionary or something very out of the box, so to speak, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to gain traction in the short term. But what I've noticed is that in the crypto space as of right now, people usually care about the narrative, right? They care about what something could be in the future as opposed to what something is currently. So, yes, while Hedera doesn't have like, the best projects on it, it doesn't have the best adoption. I do believe that it's very special in a sense that the hypothetical potential of what it could be used for, it could be amazing just simply due to the fact that, again, Hedera Hashgraph is a directed acyclic graph. Now, some people like to ask me, is $3 still my price target for this bull run? And the answer is yes, because the way I take a look at it is that something like this is too good to not hypothetically reach that. Because, for instance, right, we've seen BNB reach over $100 billion in market cap. We've seen something like, Dogecoin reach over $80 billion in market cap. We've seen Ethereum reach around $550 billion in market cap. And the way I view it is that if they were able to reach those heights back in 2021, imagine as of right now, now that we have more crypto owners, right? Pretty much double when compared to the peak of that bull run, which at that time was around 300 million. Now there's over 600 million according to crypto.com research. You take a look at how, again, news like the potential at least of the Hedera ETF, that could be massive. So I really do believe that when it comes to all of that, I don't see why HBAR won't hypothetically reach a market cap of over $100 billion as well, which it would have if it were to go to the price of $3 considering current circulating supply. More specifically, at that price, the market cap would actually be around 126 billion. So it's actually not too far off, from like something like a BNB or like a Dogecoin, for instance, especially back in 2021. And keep in mind, right, Ethereum pretty much exceeded this by over $400 billion back in 2021 in terms of market cap at its peak at that time, right? So I don't see why this is too much to ask for. And again, when it comes to Hedera, people like to say that, oh yeah, man, this is something that is going to do bad in the future because it's not good. Well, here's the thing. If let's say a project has a governing council that includes the likes of Google, Dell Technologies, Mondelez, do you think they want the project to fail in any way? Or let's say if it were to fail, they wouldn't rescue it? I just highly doubt they wouldn't do that. And when it comes to Hedera, it's exactly that because again, its governing council does include those giants, like I mentioned before, aka, something like Dell Technologies, Google. This is how amazing Hedera is. And for these large scale enterprises, rescuing a project like Hedera, that's like easy peasy. And I think when it comes to Hedera, it's going to be this project that's going to be around for multiple decades to come. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to disappear or anything like that because, again, it's just very unique. It's very special. I think, again, naturally speaking, when traditional blockchain technology first came up, I'm pretty sure a lot of enterprises were kind of apprehensive to really utilize it anyway. I'm not going to say that the option is the best as of right now, but it's a lot better from back then, of course, right? But when it comes to a directed acyclic graph, it's just like still kind of reminding me of the early days of traditional blockchain technology when it was kind of overlooked, but then we all knew the advantages, right? At least some people did, I would assume. So when it comes to a directed acyclic graph, I do believe that the advantages really do outweigh the disadvantages in terms of the disadvantages being that the adoption isn't the best, doesn't have a lot of fans, but really enterprises, they could care less about the fans or the hype. They care about what works. They care about what can improve their business. So when it comes to Hedera, I do believe it's very special. And again, the ETF could bring many wonders, especially when it comes to its future and also the short term. I think during this bull run, if let's say, this does become a reality again, the Hedera ETF, before, the bull run is in fifth gear, or let's say as it goes into third or fourth gear as the bull run starts going up, this could be something very massive when it comes to HBAR. And $3 at that point, it really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, but it's just a waiting game, really. I'm going to stay patient. It hasn't even been May, June, July yet. I'm going to wait and see all the way up until the end of near 2025, right? Near the end of that. Because I believe the race is still far from over and HBAR at the price of $3, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Despite the price volatility in the short term, whatever happens, I'm still going to be buying, holding, and just waiting because I believe in the idea, hypothetically, that HBAR could go to the price of $3 during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.